Now many people, everybody, are talking about the fourth stimulus check timeline and when the fourth stimulus relief package will be passed. Everybody, this is your fourth stimulus check update and daily news report. In this video, I will be discussing the most realistic timeline for the fourth round of stimulus payments. So folks, just be sure to subscribe to my channel and stay until the end of this video. On this channel, I always do my best in providing you with the most up-to-date and reliable stimulus check news.
We are getting very tired about hearing our Republican and right-wing friends telling us about how Social Security is collapsing, when the reality is Social Security today has a surplus of $2.6 trillion. Social Security can pay out every benefit.
Now millions of Americans are waiting for another round of stimulus checks. Some lawmakers are asking for more relief money to be sent out, whether it's a one-time direct payment or a recurring payment, citing broad support from the public and financial analysts. There are many others in Washington, D.C. that have argued that even the economy is slowly recovering, stimulus money should still be sent out to Americans that are financially struggling. According to a recent study, the first 3 stimulus checks help reduce hardships like food insufficiency and financial instability. 2 more stimulus bills have been proposed since the American Rescue Plan became law in March. It is possible one of these bills could extend or introduce more money through direct payments for specific groups of recipients, such as parents who earn below a certain income or people who are out of work. Multiple Democratic members of the House and Senate have thrown their weight behind a fourth stimulus check. In late March, a group of lawmakers asked President Biden to include regular stimulus payments in the next stimulus package. On May 17th, several members of the House Ways and Means Committee made a similar request, remarking on increased poverty and spiraling debt among Americans. They noted that most people spend relief checks on monthly expenses or essentials like food, utilities, rent and mortgage payments. As part of the White House's economic stimulus strategy, the Future American Families Plan could potentially include more direct aid to individuals and families, such as a fourth stimulus check.
For 75 years, in good times and in bad times, when the folks on Wall Street a few years ago destroyed our economy, all right? When millions of people lost their lifetime savings, Social Security was there paying out every nickel owed to every eligible American. Let's not forget that.
The reason is we were able to defeat the ridiculous idea to privatize Social Security.
If it approves recurring payments, this plan will be the next likely place for Congress to provide more funding in the form of a fourth stimulus check. If it makes the child tax credit raise payment, money from the expanded child tax credit is set to start in July, sending periodic payments to lower income and middle income families with children. In his speech before Congress, President Biden called on the House and Senate to extend the expanded child tax credit to 2025. If it passes a minimum wage hike, some senators continue to look for ways to boost the federal minimum wage, which currently stands at $7.25 an hour. In his speech before Congress, Joe Biden called on the legislators to raise the minimum wage to $15. Senator Mitt Romney and Kyrsten Sinema have also pitched a wage hike. Some proponents want to set the bar at a $15 hourly wage, but others are looking to go only up to $11 an hour. If we reduce federal unemployment payments beyond the FAIL, along with recurring payments, some lawmakers had originally petitioned for federal unemployment assistance to extend beyond Labor Day this year. However, dozens of states have cut off extended benefits, and enhanced unemployment relief is not likely to continue beyond those expiration dates. We can definitely expect to see a lot of changes made to the next spending bill. If lawmakers decide to use budget reconciliation process again, it will be much easier to pass a fourth round of stimulus checks without Republican support. Also, if lawmakers change the filibuster rules, a fourth stimulus check could be within reach. This week, Democrats in the U.S. Senate moved to start debate on voting rights legislation that has long been one of their key priorities. Although all 50 Democrats in the Senate voted in favor of advancing legislation, the voting rights bill will not advance to the next step in the process. That's because of a procedural rule called the filibuster. Under the current filibuster rules, lawmakers can block a debate on a bill. They will need 10 Republicans to get on board to accomplish their legislative goals. The calls for modifying or ending the filibuster have become more urgent, as Democrats face a growing fear that Biden's agenda will no longer work out as long as this procedural tool remains in place. If lawmakers respond to this pressure and make a change to the filibuster, that could significantly increase the chances of another stimulus check. If lawmakers change the filibuster rules, the goal of doing so would be to make it easier for Democrats to pass legislation without Republican support. So folks, I think lawmakers should definitely use the budget reconciliation process to pass the infrastructure bill. That is the end of the video, and if you guys found this video useful and helpful, feel free to subscribe to my channel and give this video a like. Until next time, everybody, have a great day and stay safe.
You know, there are many who say that bipartisanship is dead in Washington, D.C. and across this country. But this historic agreement today between Republicans and Democrats in the Senate and with the President of the United States shows that when a group of people who are committed with shared values to solving the problems and challenges our country faces, we can use bipartisanship to solve these challenges. As Rob said, and as the President said, no one got everything they wanted in this package. We all gave some to get some, because what we did was put first the needs of our country. This does represent a historic investment in our country's infrastructure, and it meets the needs of folks who live from Virginia out to Arizona. It invests in green energy and climate, recognizing the changing nature of our country and our future. It invests in broadband and our power grid and our structures. And we are delighted to go back to the Hill and begin earning more support from both Republicans and Democrats to get this bill across the finish line.
Good afternoon. If you hear a little noise in the background, it's because I'm supposed to be getting on a helicopter to head to North Carolina, which I'm going to be doing right after this. And the Vice President and I, though, want to lay out what we just settled, at least for the moment, with our friends, the bipartisan group of senators. I said many times before, there's nothing our nation can't do when we decide to do it together, do it as one nation. Today is the latest example of that truth in my view. I'm pleased to report that a bipartisan group of senators, 5 Democrats, 5 Republicans, part of a larger group, have come together and forged an agreement that will create millions of American jobs and modernize our American infrastructure to compete with the rest of the world known in the 21st century. I want to thank them for working together and for raising their ideas and concerns with me and with the Vice President, as well as with our jobs cabinet. Secretary Buttigieg is here. Good to see you, Mr. Secretary. Secretary Fudge, Secretary Granholm, Secretary. There you are. Okay, I got to make sure. I thought everybody was on this side. Secretary Raimondo and Secretary Walsh. I also want to thank Senator Shelley Caputo for her earlier work on infrastructure agreement. We didn't reach an agreement, but she tried her best to get something done. I'm sure it helped produce the final agreement we had. The fact is, investment in jobs and infrastructure have often had bipartisan support in the past. Matter of fact, when I first got to the United States Senate, it was probably the least